The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to In the Now with Simone Jennifer Smith. And it's Friday. I've learned to love the show for a lot of different reasons. First thing, people love Fridays because if you are working a 9 to 5, this is your weekend. Let's begin. So I'd like to welcome you into your lunchtime weekend. And I present on the show a little news. You know, sometimes I stay local. This week I'm staying pretty local. And then sometimes I go outside the city. But I'm staying local this week, and I'm also going to be doing a segment of In Tune with the Universe. I have a really special story that I want you guys to hear. But you know what? Let's talk about some news first. So Kitchener is about to mash it up this Saturday with Reggae Fest. Dave is in his feelings about this. We'll discuss that in a bit. But alongside that, Shea Butter's doing a Pre-Carnival Pop Up, and we have so much to look forward to with this show. Let's start with the Reggae Fest. Yeah, put back up our thing there. Thank you, love. So, okay, before we go any further, I got, of course, big up my production manager, the ever-learning, graceful, beautiful, talented, creative Salina. You guys can't see her right now. She's laughing and pissed. So I said her name wrong on purpose. So On the Grand is excited for the final all-age mini festival before the August long weekend. This is credited now, this event, by Beyond Oz Productions, and Reggae Fest will surely not disappoint with its winning lineup. Let me see those names one more time, girl, so people can see this. Conscience, which I'm thinking we might be having the Selena and I will be interviewing him. This is very exciting. You definitely have to stay live to my TCN TV on Saturday, okay? Egyptian, Cranium, Luciano, and Style OG. The activity-filled grounds will have live music, vendors, and much, much more. So this is happening on Saturday, July 27th from 6 o'clock p.m. to 11 p.m. And the doors open at 5 o'clock p.m. And this is happening at Benjamin Center, which is 425 Benjamin Center Drive in Kitchener. So if you want, tickets can be purchased now at ontheground.net. But to one lucky viewer today, if you're paying attention to the show, I'm going to have one ticket to give away. So there's certain people in the studio right now who are really in their feelings. I'm going to suggest to him, so he's here. He has field court advantage. All he has to do, if he wants the ticket, is to answer the question. I will be asking a question I'm not going to tell you when. I'm going to throw it somewhere in because you have to watch the show, okay? Now, let's jump into another long weekend celebration. Now, I like to kind of go all over Ontario when I'm doing the show, so we're going to head up to Windsor, Ontario. Yes, we're going to head west on the 401 and then go southwest. And we're going to talk about the Emancipation Day celebration. So the Amherstburg Freedom Museum will host the Emancipation Celebration Friday, August 3rd at the Giovanni Cabato Club. The annual event recognizes the abolition of slavery in Canada in 1833. So this year's theme is Fire and Ice. Who's going to be there? This is like a yearly celebration that they do. I have some pictures there actually, Celine, if you could pull those up of some of, so this is actually Amherstburg. So This is more for people who, honestly, not everyone does the jump up every year. Some people are just not about Carabana. So if you're interested in doing something a little bit different, I would definitely suggest this. This is a picture of actually the celebration that they're having down there. And this is, of course, for those who have interest in how Canada was for blacks back then. So there were blacks in Amherstburg. There were blacks in Windsor. We were there. Africans have been all over this continent, all over this province. And they have a steadfast there. So definitely, if you're interested in doing something just a wee bit different, you can check this out. So when we come back, we are going to, actually, we have a pop-up that's going to be coming up. I'm going to talk about that. That one's going to be pretty cool. And then I think I have one more other thing for you. What do I have? Oh, yes, Barbados on the water. So we'll talk about that on In the Now. See you guys soon.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. You know, the large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see us out anymore is because
the ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
Welcome back, everybody, to In the Now with Simone Jennifer Smith. So if you are just watching us right now, if you're just catching us, I actually put out a ticket giveaway for Reggae Fest in Kitchener this weekend. So go back and watch the last segment. Go back and watch that, and you might have a chance. I'm going to be dropping a question, I think, probably, and I'll say it now since we're kind of in the mid. I'm going to drop a question at the end of the third segment. So anyone watching now will know when it's going to be dropped. If you're not watching it, you don't know. So we'll see what happens. All right, so we were moving on. We were talking about also what's happening in Southwest Ontario with their Emancipation Celebration Dinner. And now we're going to talk about some stuff that's happening pre-Carabana, which I think is really cool. So ladies, this is more for you. Award-winning personal care brand SheaMoisturizer will hold a pop-up celebrating beauty and culture, inspiring guests to be your beautiful. So I think this is really cool. When is this happening? Well, actually, let me tell you what's happening first. So they're hosting a 4-day pop-up celebration in, let's see, what part did they say? I will give you the place first. So this is going to be on 128 Peter Street. And the dates it's happening, July 30th through August 3rd. What can people going there expect? So I know they're going to have a keynote speaker, Miss Tracy Moore, host of City Line. So she'll be there. Yes, the beautiful Tracy Moore. They're also going to have Carolyn Purcell. So she is the host of a workshop titled Hair Story, which will be discussing the aesthetics, emotional, and cultural layers associated with natural hair. And she's from Sister Talk Leadership Academy. We'll also have, let's see, what else do they have in store for us? Oh, some music performances. So Juno nominated Julie Black, the beautiful Julie Black. We'll also have Juno award-winning Amoy. Yes, there she is in her yellow. I love her hair. Her hair is just a cool picture. And then we're also going to have indie pop singer Dominique Grant. So they're also going to have some other top celebrity DJs there. The pop-up will also host informative panel discussions, artwork showcased by Benny Bing and Alexis. I'm going to make sure I say her last name. EK, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Her friends actually works here. So we know Miss Alexis. Honestly, we're looking forward to that. And a natural hair masterclass and Q&A session with cosmetic chemist, Sister Scientist. So I'm hoping going to be there. I'm probably going to be there. I'm definitely going to that. I have to see what's happening with these pop-ups. I don't get to go out during the week very much, so I'm gonna, well, depending on the time too. Dave, you may have to do the show by himself this week. I'm here to help you on the Tuesday. We'll see. So next big event. So this is now after Carabana. We're going past Carabana now. Very popular, Barbados on the Water Festival. So Barbados on the Water. Experience the best of Barbados right here in Toronto. You can enjoy a free concert, tasty cuisine, children's activities, and more at the waterfront. Now, let's see. This is happening August 16th through August 18th. And this is at Harbourfront Centre, 235 Queens Quay West, Toronto. So I have, and Selena's going to continue to put them up. This is kind of the lineup that you're looking at for those 3 days. And anything else you want to know, you can definitely go on their Facebook page. Just put in Facebook Barbados on the Water. They have a lot of information there for you as well. So definitely this is going to be an event. I'm going to this one too. Yeah, I've never been to Barbados on the Water, so this will be an experience. And you know what? I grew up with Bajans, so I'm going to get cussed. I have to go. I have no choice. So now that we have ended the segment of the news, we are going to go into my favorite segment, which is called In Tune with the Universe. And today we sit down with my special guest, Faith Walker. We'll see you guys soon.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
With so many newspapers within the community, it's sometimes hard to tell what separates us from the rest. Most of the time, they all brag about the same thing. You know, the large circulations, tons of online views, and it can go on and on. But what really separates the Toronto Caribbean newspaper apart from everybody else? Well, it's simple. Our service. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Grant Browning, founder and CEO of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. I have over 20 years of branding and marketing experience, and I've worked with countless companies and corporations to do one thing, and that is to raise their profits with their brand. With over 40 years of combined experience in branding and marketing, our amazing staff is fully prepared to sit down and figure out exactly what you need to stand out from your competitors.
The reason why you don't see that anymore is because
The ad is too powerful, bring too much people.
So what are you waiting for? Give us a call today. We'll be happy to help.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. And I love the fact that you guys are here with me today. So I like to do this segment every now and then called In Tune with the Universe. And in this segment, I sit down with individuals who I feel have had to become in tune with the universe to either survive what they've been through or to get to a pinnacle in their lives where they can say, okay, I've made a change in myself, which has allowed me to make a change with others. So I would like to welcome to the show Ms. Faith Walker.
Thank you so much.
Faith, your story, and I was telling her before we came on that I purposely didn't, I've heard bits and parts of your story, but I haven't heard it coming from your lips,
Right.
and what you've gone through and what you've experienced. So I really want today to take the time to walk with you through your journey and let other people understand your journey, because I really believe your story will touch somebody.
Yeah.
I know this.
I think so. I think that a lot of what I've been through is relatable either to people like with firsthand experience, or they might know someone that's been through something similar. So I think it's definitely
Are you ready?
important to get it out there. Oh, I was born ready.
Okay, girl. All right. Start us from, I'm going to pick an age.
Okay.
Let's say 8 or 9. What was happening to you at 8 or 9 years old? How did your life look?
8 or 9, I was being raised by a single mother, with my younger sister, the three of us. We were a pretty close, tight-knit little family, but music was always like huge for me. I can remember about that age being, I have a vivid memory of one of my babysitters like braiding my hair one night outside, and I'm like singing Whitney Houston, and I just I think that's kind of where I started to catch that bug as far as what was going to be important to me, what I wanted to do with my life. So
Did someone tell you? Like, there's always that moment where someone says to you, like, you're really good at this. Who was that?
I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't really stand out besides my mother. But of course, you're going to think, well, you're my mom, so you're
going
to
to say that,
right?
Yeah.
I think it was just more ingrained in me just because my father was a backup singer, played backup for several Detroit artists, one of the Supremes. And so I always knew that it was kind of in my
It's
genes.
in you.
My brother plays like 10 instruments. So as far as my mother, though, she cannot sing whatsoever, but she's like a huge music lover. So there was always like Motown playing in the house and that feel good music. So I think a lot of my love for music came from her, and I think I just kind of knew that I had something. I don't really remember
Anyone saying, but
someone,
you just
like,
knew.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move from 9 to 14.
Oh geez.
Let's get. No, this is good though, because I want people to see the snaps.
Yeah.
So now people have an establishment of your childhood. There's maybe some things they don't know, but let's move you up. You're now in your 14th, the teenage
14.
years.
Well, I was wild.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was wild.
What's wild?
Well, just thinking I'm grown, wanting to go out to like these all ages clubs, and even clubs that weren't all ages, coming home at like 3, 4 in the morning, mom locking me in the hallway of the townhouse complex because she's like, you're not coming in at this time of night. So I think I was kind of searching for something, trying to fill some kind of void. I think I would say that, I had some daddy issues.
Right.
And I think that when I was 14 was when I actually started to really write my own music, get into the studio and record. So that was kind of like the start of me taking music seriously.
Okay.
So I think that kind of helped me a little bit, although I had like a bumpy road and a lot of things happened between 14 to 20 type of thing. Like that wasn't the end of my struggles.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of the start of me seeing that like I had some type of purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people find different ways to deal with their pain. Would you say definitely music kind of became that antidote, I guess, or that
Yeah, absolutely.
that drug, I guess, in a way?
Yeah, I mean, up until now. Music, music when you're happy, music when you're sad, when you want to feel like you're not alone and someone else, can identify with your feelings through their words. So music is healing 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Who like really stuck out to you at 14 years old? Who you were like, this is, because we all have our favorite singers.
Yeah,
Even for people who sing, I know people who sing have their favorites. Who are like, that's her. Who was it for you?
Probably Lauryn Hill.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Love Lauryn Hill. She's always been like a huge inspiration. When I was younger, I was like really into Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and then as I got into teenage years, also I listened to like TLC, a lot of artists that were creative, and that's what I like. So either they show their creativity through what they wear and
right.
the song choices, or through their writing. I really gravitated towards that. So yeah, and I still loved Motown. Like Stevie Wonder is a huge one for me too.
Okay,
so, yeah.
But Lauryn Hill was your go-to. Would you say
so.
some of your music resembles hers at all?
See, I don't like to really make comparisons. I'm not, because people be like, oh, well, what's your music similar to, or who is it similar to? I think that I take different inspirations from all different types of music.
Got it.
And when I'm writing, I don't really think, I want to write a song like this person or that person, but I might feel like I want to be like transparent or genuine or really honest in this song. And I might get that from Lauryn Hill, or I might get that from somebody else, kind of thing. But it's been important for me to write about my life and like the true stories of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what song did you write at the age?
Oh, Lord, if you say 14.
14, since you dropped the number. What song did you write at 14 that
I remember?
That I would say people wouldn't realize, but you were really speaking your truth 100%. 100%. But people didn't know they maybe those who knew you may have known, but what song was that?
The only song that really stands out that I can remember from when like I first started writing my own music was called Chillin' with the Girls. So
okay, what's that song about?
It wasn't a serious song by any means. It was like chilling with the girls, cooling out, the good times. That's what we're all about. Just about having fun. And basically, at that age, that's what my life was kind of about. You just want to have fun with your friends. So, it definitely has grown from there. But
of course, I hope
so. No, yeah, I'm still writing about that. But at that age, that was like really true to where I was at that moment.
Okay, yeah. 22. We're coming down.
22.
We're actually going up, but
yeah,
I'm saying we're coming down, and I'll explain 22. That in a minute. 2022, because you've now gotten past. There's been some pain and stuff that's happened. Again, we're not gonna be able to dive. Yeah. If you want to know your story, they need to contact you. This is just like snippets for them.
Snippets, exactly.
So 22.
22 was completely different. I was married. I had
22.
I had one child at that time. 22, yeah. So, it was like
not chilling with the girls.
It was not chilling with the girls.
That song done.
Exactly. So yeah, it was really different, like a lot of responsibility. I think I always knew I wanted to be a mom. But of course, like when you actually have that responsibility, it can be a lot. And then I had my my second child around that time as well. So I was, a mom of two.
At 22, 23.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, any songs? What song did you have then?
Trying to remember. That's a good question, because sometimes I feel like my life is such a blur. Trying to think of what I was writing about then. I would say it was probably more, I can't think of a specific song, but I was more starting to write about love. Because I think you're at, I was married, right? You're at that age where you're singing about like what's relevant to you. So for me, it was like love. Yeah, that was probably the main thing that I wrote. I a lot of songs about love and about the good and bad relationships that kind of came in between those years of 14 to 22. So writing about that too. I think Steppin' Out and Hello, they were like two of my first songs that I had out, and they were both about someone doing me wrong, like really doing me wrong.
Okay.
And like Hello, Don't You See Me Hurting? and then, you know, I'm stepping out, I'm done with this. So
Okay, so those two stick out for you in
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point. Okay, see, it's so interesting because as a writer, I can see that you draw from your pain, your success. You know, with children, how was that with your writing? Did you find that it disturbed your writing now at all, or did that just add to it?
It disturbs my writing sometimes, but I've just kind of learned like when is a good time and when is not so much. But a lot of times for me, the inspiration just comes to me like out of nowhere. So I kind of, you know, I'll be 9 times out of 10, I'll either be driving somewhere or even just sitting outside my house and something comes to me and I'm like grabbing my phone, making a voice note. And a lot of times there are kids in the background, Mom, what are you doing? You're saying too loud. My friends can hear you. But I'm like, you know, but I'm like, okay, just give me a minute, just give me a minute. So it just kind of, it came down to kind of just getting down what I can, getting my thoughts out at that time. And then when I actually have time, I'd set aside time to like build on what
Really
the
dedicated.
idea was. Yeah.
Okay, so let me see what we have left before I move to another age. Yeah, we have time to edge up. So I'm just gonna keep climbing. Okay, tell me when to stop. Okay,
I will.
Let's
I
stop
will.
there. 35. We're gonna stop right at 35.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's do 27, 28. You're just about to buck 30.
Well, I know we're about to be done this segment, but
We can start it, and if we have to continue
my
this,
life changed a lot at 26. If I can
Okay.
go back to there.
yes, we can.
I was separated. I had just, my second son was diagnosed with autism, which was very tough for me. And music was still very important. I felt like I was starting to get somewhere. Then I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 26.
26.
So that was
Oh, wow.
very life-changing. That was a huge shift from where I was at.
Yeah.
So,
So 26, who's thinking about that
Yeah,
at 26
exactly.
years old? Like, that's just like a what?
yeah, exactly.
That word would just probably throw me if I
Yeah.
heard it. At any age, it throws you, but 26,
Yeah, but
it's
26
like,
is young, and I think because I had no strong family history, because the doctors really downplayed it, were like, oh, it's probably nothing. Like, people don't really get breast cancer at your age. So when I went in for the results and I was told, I was like,
What?
It was completely shocking because I was really kind of led to believe like it's probably nothing.
oh,
so,
wow. That
um,
makes it even worse.
Yeah,
Because now you're
exactly.
like, oh, yeah, it's probably nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, no, it's something.
it's something. So
That's
yeah.
crazy.
And
I know.
I went, you know,
I want to go into this, but
Yes,
I really
yes,
don't
yes.
before you even start because I
We'll pause
really,
right there.
this is the part of the story where I think the in tune of the universe really begins.
Yeah, I think so. I
Right,
think you're
so-
right. Yeah.
I think we'll take a quick break and we're going to continue the story with the beautiful songstress, Faith Walker.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. May your dreams all come true. Happy birthday to you.
We refuse to promote, report on anything negative in the community.
No matter what you go through in life, you gotta keep your head up. Keep it up so high, it's in the sky.
Got to keep your head in the clouds.
Got to keep your head up.
It's
that song. So I went through some of your songs. This was actually the one that caught my, it's the message.
Yeah,
It's
for
the
sure.
message. And this is like, this is why I'm doing this with you, because it's about this journey through life that we think we have an idea of, and we really have no idea.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to keep your head, like I said before we left, in the sky, and keep your head up,
Yep.
that's tough. So I don't know if anyone noticed, well, if you were watching the video, you saw people were holding up signs that had the trauma that they had dealt with. And you had 2 signs.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had 2 signs.
You had 2. Everyone else had 1, but I saw you with 2 big traumas. Let's talk about those.
Yeah,
please.
for sure. Well, as I said, being diagnosed at 26, I went through every form of treatment. So I had a mastectomy, I had chemo, radiation, and reconstructive surgeries.
How old are you here going through this?
26 to 20. Well, it was probably 26 to 27.
1 year.
Yeah. So I think I had, at that point, maybe one, like the first step of the reconstruction, but every other form of treatment. And so at that point, honestly, like something just told me that I was going to be okay. I think that having my kids really kept me going because, I like really had something to live for. And I knew that breast cancer was usually very treatable. There were pretty good odds that I would make it through. It was stage 3. So I basically thought my battle with cancer was done. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So I was in remission until I was 30. And when I was 30, I was pregnant with my youngest son. And I kept having this like severe back pain, and it was getting worse and worse. And they kept saying to me, well, the baby's just pressing on a sciatic nerve. Like, take this medication, take that medication, send me home kind of thing. But for some reason, it never occurred to me that it could be cancer related. I think in my head, I was just like, well, I'm done with it. Like, I already did it. So it's nothing related to that, right? And none of the doctors really clued in that it could be related. So the back pain got worse and worse, and I ended up, one day I just reached for something and I dropped on the ground, could not move, had to call an ambulance. And then finally at that point, they gave me an MRI, and they said, okay, the reason you're in so much pain is because you fractured your spine. And the reason that my spine fractured was because there were tumors in it, so it was already weakened from that. So at that point, I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, I didn't really know as far as prognosis, like what does that really mean for me, big picture? And keep in mind, I was about not quite 6 months pregnant at the time.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, they said, the doctor came in with like tears in her eyes. Like, she didn't want to tell me. She was waiting for another doctor to come in. But I'm like, just tell me what's going on. Like, I need to know.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, like she basically told me that, there must have been like a microscopic cell from the breast cancer that I had that traveled through my body. And because I was pregnant, my cancer is very estrogen sensitive, and I didn't really realize that. I don't know if I was told that. But that caused it to grow rapidly during pregnancy. So they said, as far as prognosis, we don't know if you have a year or 20 years. So to me, I was like, whoa,
what?
Like, first of all, I have kids, I have this baby that's not even born yet, and you're telling me a year to 20 years. And the odds at that point, it's, because they said you have stage 4 cancer. So the odds are like 1 in 5 make it past 5 years. 1 in 5. So how do
you even deal with that type of information?
I think.
How do you deal with that?
Honestly, sometimes I don't know how. I've just always just put one foot in front of the other, and I've been one to just, just think, okay, what am I going to do? Here's the plan. And then just put the plan in motion and figure out everything else as we go. Because at that point, it was crazy. Like I said, I was 27 weeks pregnant because I actually ended up having another fall in the hospital. That was a lesson for me, because I got up in the middle of the night and I was feeling a little bit better, and I said, I can walk myself to the washroom. Like, come on. But I should have called the nurse, and I didn't. And I fell in the bathroom and I felt like my body shattered into like a million pieces. And they had to have like that machine come and scoop me up and like carry me. I could not move. And at that point, they're like, hey, we need to get this baby out and we need to get you into surgery. So I had my son at 27 weeks. He was 2 pounds, 5 ounces. So he could literally like fit into my hands like this.
Oh my gosh.
Saw him for 5 minutes and then they took him away to a hospital like an hour away from where I was. And then I didn't see him again for a month. So the following day, I had a 9-hour back surgery. They fused my spine with rods and screws. And then I was in the hospital for 3 months and had to go through radiation again, learn to walk again. I was in a wheelchair when I went home, but then I kind of graduated to walker, crutches, cane, which I talk about in some of my songs because you know, a lot of people see me and they don't really think that I've gone through a lot of those things. Like, I don't know if I don't know how I feel about that statement, but people will say like, oh, you would never know kind of thing, you know, which is kind of like, okay, it's kind of a compliment, but in a way it's kind of not because like, what does someone with cancer look like kind of thing? So I get it. But, you know, at that point before I went home, they did not understand because I was actually single at that time. They didn't understand, like, how are you going to take care of your kids? 3 kids on your own, one with autism, one that's 3 months premature, you know, and then a 7-year-old. And, like, what are you going to do? So they said, okay, we're going to set up a meeting. And I wrote a list. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a support worker come in the morning, going to help for a couple hours, get my kids off to school. I'm going to have, you know, a friend do my grocery shopping once a week. I'm going to, like, I had everything planned out. And they came and stood around my bed instead of like, we're supposed to have a proper meeting at a table. It was like kind of demeaning. Standing around my bed like, okay, prove to us how you're going to take care of your kids. And so I showed them my list and I said, I can do this. There's other women who are in a wheelchair that are taking care of their kids, so why can't I do it? You know, and that was my approach to it. And so my son was also in the hospital for 3 months. So I went home. I missed like a whole season. So I went in September 26th. I came out December 20th. And my son came home New Year's Day. So
that was a nice New Year's Day.
Yeah, it was.
It's like, yeah, you're here.
I know. It was nice, especially after being away from him. After the first month, they brought him to the same hospital where I was. So at least I could go and see him.
Is it the young man that's out here right now? Is that?
Yeah, that's my baby.
He's so cute and he's so like polite. Full of energy. She's like, polite. How many times do you have to remind him? Look here, you were 2.5 pounds. You know.
I know.
How many times do you want to remind him of that?
A lot. And he's actually in the video. I don't know if you guys saw him holding the sign saying he was a 2-pound baby, but he wasn't too happy about doing the video. But I really expressed to him, you know, somebody else is going to see this video that's about to have a child premature or just had a child prematurely. Yes. And they're going to relate to that. And they're going to say, okay, this kid's 10 years old. Like, it is possible, right?
It's possible.
So so he finally agreed that he would be in it. But the video was my proudest accomplishment because it's if you watch the whole thing, I chose people in my life, either friends or family members that I knew had been through a really big struggle and found a blessing in disguise. So that's really what it's about.
It's extraordinary because that is why I have you here today. Mm-hmm. It's because we need to understand people's stories.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in our community, I think if we could find ways to relate, even if it's through pain, we would get along a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many other women are facing this right now who feel so alone when there's someone like you who's dealt with it not once? There's actually a lady I'm going to have you look up. She had it. Yeah. She had it 4 times.
Wow.
In 10 different places in her body.
Wow.
Strong woman, though. I'm going to step forward her.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
need to speak to this woman. Like, I think you and her would have a really good conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
And I noticed people who've gone through what you've gone through, you have this energy that you're just like, it can't be denied.
It's like, okay, I've been through the worst of the worst, so now I'm really, really going to enjoy my life. Now I'm going to find my purpose. And that's how my music kind of graduated from, you know, just writing the love songs to writing something deeper, because I know that there are people that relate, and it really keeps me going when I receive, you know, messages from people saying that either my story or my music really inspired them, because I know, like, when you're actually going through it, you really need those moments of inspiration.
You need something.
Yeah, for sure.
You need something. So,
exactly.
How do you feel sometimes? And this is a personal question in a way. When you hear people who kind of complain about, I'm not going to say small things, because what we may seem small is really big to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes when you hear people complaining, what's your reaction to that?
I think that it really depends on who the person is. Now, if it's my child, I'm like, listen, don't tell me your legs hurt or your back hurt, because
stop this.
Yeah, you know. But anybody else, sorry kids, anybody else, I think that everybody has their struggle, and that's why it was important in this video to show different stories. And some people have been through what you would call little things, and some people bigger things. But I think there's still, when you're going through it, like, it's still valid, right?
Of course.
And I try to really make sure. But, you know, it is, when people are talking about things that to me don't matter, I have little tolerance for that sometimes, you know? And, it, you know, sometimes my boyfriend gets it. It just depends. It just depends.
Whoever it is in that moment.
I'm like,
really?
You're stressing about, like, you didn't get a chance to iron your shirt, like, relax. Like, you know what I mean? Really. And it's been hard for me, because from basically the moment I woke up from that 9-hour back surgery, I had some paralysis in my right foot. So I have what's called a foot drop. I can't lift my right foot properly. And I have nerve pain in my feet 24/7. So, you know, when, like, your hand or foot falls asleep, my feet have been asleep for 10 years. So that, and then I'll get sharp pains at the same time. So I have
that feeling of your foot being asleep you've had to deal with for 10 years.
For 10 years straight. It's been really hard. Like, you have to, like, disconnect your lower body from your mind, because it's just constant, right? And there are medications that I've taken. They do help a little bit, but it never completely takes it away. So living with pain every day, sometimes it's just too much. I'm being completely honest. Sometimes it's just too much, but I just keep going, and I've really learned to kind of pace myself and know my limitations, you know, only plan a couple things a day where I know that I can have that time to relax in between. But, you know, I've had a lot of people say things to me like, I'm pretty open about my story, and I might post something on Instagram like, oh, I went for a scan or something, this and that. And people are like, oh, your cancer's back. And I'm like, it never left, you know? So there's like this, sometimes there's this perception that once someone's done with their first battle, or once someone's finished treatment, like, that's it kind of thing. But when you're actually living with it day in and day out, it's kind of a different thing. Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to do, because there's so much more to Faith's story. In the next edition of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper, I'm going to do a feature on you that will give people a little bit more in-depth.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that.
On who you are. So kind of like a follow-up from this show. So I do want to say thank you. So for those out there who are interested, where can they find you on social media?
My biggest social media platform would be Instagram. I post pretty regularly on there, just events that are going on. By the way, I'll be at Alley Cats tonight if anybody wants to come down.
There you go.
And you know, as well as health things going on. You know, if you're going through something, feel free to message me. I'm always happy to pass on information, like my meditation playlist that I've put together. I meditate every night. You know, just I have a lot of resources. So yeah, check me out on Instagram. It's Faith Walker Music. And then also Facebook page, Faith Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
Thank you. Find out more. Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you
for
so much
sharing
for having me.
a bit like that. And I mean, when I say that's like a snap of your story.
The book is coming.
The book is coming.
The book is coming.
The write-up's coming before the book.
Exactly.
The article is going to come before the book. So you can get a little bit more in mind. And then if you're really, really interested, then we'll have you back on. You can talk about your book when you publish it. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
This is why I do In Tune with the Universe, because it's stories like Faith that allow us to know that there are other options in life, even when things seem so like, well, you heard her story. She's still here, and she's smiling, and she's living her life. Guys, I'll see you next week on In the Now. What's coming up else today? The Elephant Room? The Elephant Room today with Miss L.A. Wade. And do we have anything else today? No, that was on Tuesday. They've learned the schedule. Really? Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week on In the Now. Have a wonderful Friday. Peace and love.